Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. So today it is a junk journal video. I didn't do one on Saturday. I still get overwhelmed with tiredness, this sort of post-COVID sort of thing. So yes, it was just like, no, it's just one too many. I'm not going to do it. So I woke up with an idea and I thought I'd have a go. So I'm making specimen slides, and this is what I've made, and this is what this video is all about, how I made these. They're slightly different methods. I tried out a few different things in doing this, and I will go through, turn some of them so that they're into journaling cards. I will go through the whole process and show you the differences, and then my assessment at the end of which method I thought was the best. So hope you'll join me. I'm going to bring you a little idea. It came to me literally as I was waking up this morning to try this out, and so I was going to try it out, and then if it worked I was going to film it, and then I just thought, oh, let's just get it filmed. So I've never made faux specimen slides. Lots of people make them, and I recently got these serviettes from Sainsbury's, and I thought that these would possibly look really good on specimen slides. And my idea was, because it's got these beautiful like handwritten descriptions, was that they would look lovely as well. So let's get the layers off. I'm sure that lots of you know how to do this. So, oh, a little bit dizzy there. It's because I'm on my desk. I'm not used to it. I have a really solid phone holder on my filming desk, but I'm just on my craft desk. So that's a bit of sellotape on the back. This is 3-ply, so we want to get all 3 layers off. That's one, and that should let us get, yeah, we had the layer off. So, and I keep these. I have another project in my head that came to me whilst lying in bed. I get most of my good ideas whilst lying in bed trying to sleep, and that's probably why I don't sleep, because it's like, oh, I just want to get up now and try it. And sometimes I do, literally in the middle of the night. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. Right, so I try and keep these in a separate bag, so I've got oodles of them. I'll just put them to one side for now. So there we are. I've got this layout paper, so I'm going to do it 2 ways. One way was to decoupage them onto this layout paper, and one is to just laminate it, just to see what the difference is. So this is quite opaque, and when you put wax on it and iron it, it goes sort of really translucent like vellum. So it's really thin. So that was an idea. So I'm going to use my paintbrush to get each of these out to sort of go as close as possible to the images, because I want the words separate. So now that's been wet all the way around, it should just come away quite nicely. Yep, so far so good. So that's that. And I thought, because you want the back to to be able to be seen, and you can, so quite liking that. And then we've got butterfly to go actually on the slide on the front. So I'm liking that. So I'm going to do them all, and so I'll do that a little bit faster for you. There we go. So I've done like a sample of each of them and a couple of different butterflies. And so now I'm just going to glue them to this thin contact paper. It's not contact paper, layout paper. So see what we've got. I'm going to space them out because don't want them on top of each other. And then I've got some PVA glue, which I have. It is slightly coloured with Vintage Photo re-inker, so it would give it a slightly aged look. So I'm going to leave that to dry, and then I'm going to do some waxing on of it, and I'm going to put those words somewhere safe because we don't need them just yet. So my other idea was to just lay them straight on the laminated sheet. So we'll do that whilst this is drying. So I've got a laminated sheet there, and got these. And what I might do actually is I might cut round them. That might be the best way to get really close to them. So that's them cut out. I don't know if it would have been quicker to have done some wetting around. I think I might do some wetting around so then we can see what difference it makes, because if it doesn't make that much difference, it is certainly a quicker way of doing it. So I'm just going to lay them on my laminating sheet. You have to be careful because it gets lots of static on it. There we go. Don't have it moved. That will do nicely. Still got room to sort of go around there. So I'm going to do some where I use my paintbrush, but I'll do that off camera. So those are cut out, ready to go in. And I decided to see what they look like if I just laminate that, because I say I'm not sure if we're going to get any changes. To them as they melt, so it might go translucent. Might just cut them a bit so there's a bit more room, and I decided to leave the words on. Just so we can see what difference they make. Spread out a little bit. There we go. And then if I bring my other sheet in, that's a bit drier now, and I'm going to get, so what I do is I sprinkle it with candle wax and iron it. So I'll go and do that. I have got a video on that process, so I won't bore you with it now. So that's them done. Now you can see a bit of where the glue, because of the glue was a different colour, but I quite like that. And I sort of had the idea of actually, I'll do 3 of them laminated and 3 of them not, to give a different look, to sort of show how to make them without a laminator, because not everybody's got one. So I'll chop these off. And have that to make without the laminator, and laminate these. They're not exactly see-through. It is like a vellum-y effect, but we'll see what that turns out like. It's an experiment. So that is my sheet. Turn it on the side so it's all on there. So that's my sheet for laminating, and then we'll see how that looks. So that's them laminated, and it didn't change anything about the background tissue. So I think the ones that are kind of fussy cut have come out better. Let's see, is that clear? Yeah. So they're better. There you can still see a bit of the surround, and there you can see quite clearly the surround. So I'm going to make them up with those, and we'll just see. So I'm going to cut them down. So what I've done is, because some of them need bigger and some need smaller, so I have taken some tea dyed paper. This is 120, and I figured doubled over and glued it will be quite robust. So I cut it in half, so that's 5 7/8 or 15 centimeters. No, 4 1/8 to get it in half, and then that way is that, but we're not cutting that, we're folding it. Gosh, brain in gear please, Jez, you've just done it. Get some quite cracking, because I actually think this might be the paper that's sort of photo on one side, so it's got a coating on it, so I'll keep that to the inside. So yeah, so that gives you so you get 4 of these out of a piece of A4. I might trim them down, in which case you would probably get more, probably get about 6. So that's that bit, and then I'm going to cut a big one and a small one. So using my dies, I'm just going to cut some squares out of them Now we've got four to play with. So let's put my dies out of the way. So got this little butterfly, ladybird even, so he'll go in the small one quite nicely. This one will need the bigger one because he's a bit bigger, and I should have thought a little bit more when I was trimming it down because I haven't given myself a lot to play with. So that's my little rookie mistake, so don't make that one. And then where's my other one that's got all the surround took off? Right, it's there. So I think this will go in a little one. If it was trimmed down, it would go in there. So take that corner off. Fluff that one up and sort something out. There's that. Then we've got these ones that are just on the paper. I didn't wax enough down that corner. Let's do that one. So it might be worth thinking about your aperture. Like that. So let's actually do one of the different ones. There's the laminated bee on the paper. I think that's quite cute actually. That might be quite nice if you didn't have the aperture at the back, and you could do it as a journaling card, maybe that opened. You could cover the back. Just ideas, just ideas. So we got that, we got some torn out ones. That's what we haven't used yet. Will that go in there? Yeah, I've trimmed them too much. I was thinking I'd be using a much smaller square. So I'll put that one back. So let's get these sorted. So they need to be stuck down to this. So I'm going to try my usual colour. Might need tape. Don't know. So that's quite good. So it does actually. That seems to work. So let's glue the rest of it. So I think that's stuck down quite nicely. So that's worked. So let's try . So that's like an example of each of them. I just haven't got an example of the torn off ones, actually, have I? So now let's get the words back in. Quite like this because this was my idea, because it looks like handwriting. and I thought that that would look good. So I'm going to use my so that's sort of nicely blended in, so it looks like you've like written butterfly. I'm showing that. Can you see it? Yeah. So liking that. Stick that on some labels. I think in here I've got some plain labels. Yep. Thought they'd possibly look good. On one of these. So. And so if you haven't got dies or punches, you can of course just, you could cut them out. It's a bit harder and not as easy to be neat. But if you've got this sort of trimmer where you can place the blade anywhere, you can cut apertures out. So that's another way you could draw the square. So you've got a guide and cut them out. So that's that, right? So liking the look of that. So, but now we need to do a bit of inking, of course. Let's do a bit of inking. So I'm going to stick with Vintage Photo because that's what I've used on the glue, not that you can really sort of see it very much. And just go around the edges. Now I could have inked those squares before I stuck it down, but I didn't think about it, but it could have done. Now I watched somebody the other day making some specimen slides, and they had like a stamp that had like handwriting on, and I do have several things like that, and they sort of put it on the back as if somebody had written on the back, which is quite a neat idea. But I wasn't sure I was going to leave that maybe for a little bit of journaling. I do love inking, but I say I just recently made a little traveller's notebook with like non-vintage, so not a single bit of inking other than the stamping that I did of some of the sentiments. I think they're cool. So these So I've got this script here, which looks a bit like handwriting and is not hugely readable. So I thought we'll go with that one. And I'm going to just sort of stamp it around as opposed to just a little bit on the back like that. I think that works quite well. I saw somebody else do this, can't remember who it was, and I thought, oh, I've got a stamp like that. That one's very light there, so I might then just sort of put some randomly around. As if they were being left on the desk. Writing other things on it. Might put some coffee stains or cut stains. I think they'll look good as well. So I'll get my stamp for that. So I love this one. There's so many different textures you can add, and I do love the coffee stain. I do love that like bit of sellotape there, which actually I think might look really good on here. So it's a nice coffee stain. So we can see what we've ended up with. So we've got that one that we can see through. He's quite cool. Still see him at the back. So I'm liking that. That is with the waxed paper. That is nice. That's again with it cut out and laminated. You can see both sides and our little words there. And then this one was laminated on the waxed paper. I do like these labels. I think they work quite well. So I'm going to do the others. I can do them with circles and then we can compare. Okay. So I've done the circle ones and I've gone all a little bit obsessed, and what was going to be a really quick little video, I've been at it all day. I've had so much fun. So I did this one as a circle, and this is just the candle wax paper with the onto the layout paper, and I did this so that it didn't have a back to it, because I thought, well, you can't see through it that well, and I thought that way it could be a journaling card. So I thought that was quite cute. And then I remembered about putting numbers and things on, so I'll show you what I use in a minute. So I've got dates, handwritten dates, got handwritten numbers, got a bit of a signature going on the back there. So that's another circle. And then this circle here, this is the one where I just ripped it out, these two are ripped out as opposed to fussy cut. And I say I found all these numbers to make them look a little bit more sort of authentic. And then I come up with a new idea, but I'll show you. I went over all of these with all these different signatures and numbers that I added to them, which I thought adds a bit. I had a look on the internet at what some specimen slides look like, and I left that one because there's like room to journal there. Yeah, so really like that one. I put a big signature on the back of that and left that one as it was. And then, so these aren't decorated, so I'm going to show you how I decorated them. I've got two here. One that I say I'm going to make as a journaling card, and one that I've left like that. And you can see, we can see through it. And all that is I waxed directly onto the paper napkin, which I don't really know why I didn't do that before. So let me show you. Got a piece under here. There. So that is directly onto the paper napkin. So I put it between 2 pieces of greaseproof paper, sprinkled grated candle wax on it and ironed it, and that's how it's come out. And that is the effect in a slide. Now that is from the side bit that's like got an embossing. You obviously, it would be smoother if it's taken from the edge, but I don't mind that. It kind of makes it feel like it's maybe been through some sort of franking machine to show that it belongs to a particular museum or whatever. So so I did that. I've got a big piece here that's waxed. I've got this other serviette which I thought would make lovely specimen slides as well, so really like that. I also think that would make lovely, because it's like a different texture of vellum, so that would make a really nice, like a little bag or something in a journal. Quite liked that. So yeah, so then I laminated them. So I've got some that's not laminated and some that is, oh, some that weren't done at all. So here we have, that is the glass, not the glass, I was thinking of glassine. So that's the waxed serviette, then laminated, and then some I fussy cut. It was actually a little bit easier to fussy cut like that, but to be fair, maybe if you're going to fussy cut, you choose not to wax it. And then on here, that is the serviette without being waxed. So you can see there is quite a bit of difference between waxing it. It makes it more translucent than not waxing it. So I think waxing it is a good idea. And these are all waxed and then fussy cut out, which I think is makes it look quite good. So I've been cutting them out to get them ready to go on to slides. I then thought, because these got nothing behind, that make them the size of the slide gives it a bit more rigidity. That was my thoughts there. So got them. Those are fussy cut ones, and one of these wax ones. I'll show you what I did. So I took a piece of copier paper to go behind this, because I was gonna just sort of punch it out to be used. So I'm using a 2 1/4 inch circle punch, because they're ultimately going to be matted onto a 2 inch aperture. So you don't have to use a punch for this bit, you could just cut it, but I decided to punch it there. It doesn't like really thin paper. So now that one we're not going to be able to punch, so I'm just going to cut it. So we have got some laminated, fussy cut, waxed ones, and one of these. I really quite like the way that one's turned out. So I have got my bit of copier paper, and you could make these into pockets as well. If you put them on your journal, you could glue them to the page by just gluing 3 sides, and you'd have a little pocket, and obviously you've got a slight window there. Might like that. So I had cut these more or less to fit this. Now obviously my little template, I thought I was being really clever and made a bit of a card template, but that wasn't it. Right, so I want to cut a 2 inch circle. So I've cut 2 inch circle out of copier paper, post-it note even, so that I can stick it where I want it on here. So I've got it a bit sort of central. So then I can feed my punch up. See where that post-it note is, and it'll punch. And then that gives me my circle nicely centralised where I want it. So that's to have one like that, and then I might do one that's going to be just on the back. So we do exactly the same thing. And I'm going to keep all these circles because they will come in handy for other things. Auntie May's did something with circles recently, so I've got loads now. I can try that. So I'm going to, I think, have this as not going on both sides, and then we'll have this as a slide. Where's the other one? I might do the big one, and then we can do a direct comparison between that, and that fits so well in there, but we will trim it off. So I will stick that down. So that's the two of them stuck down. It was that one. So that's our bumblebee. So that's it with, you can see the little bit of embossing on there, and that's it flat. Really like that. Could be Manchester, couldn't it? And that's the slide. Could be either way because you can just see both sides really well. And then that's the one like that. So obviously I prefer it like that, but that's not bad. If you haven't got a laminator, then I'm sure you got an iron, and I just grated candle wax on it, and that worked. So liking them. So now I'm gonna do the bit of distressing. So obviously I'm going to ink all around it, but I think I got these tickets out before. Red won't go nice on there. These were sort of Artie May's. I got an Artie May's. That's quite nice with the water on it, actually. Yeah, so this is from an Artie May's kit that I bought. It's got tickets and different things on it, and it's also got a grab it. So I sort of print them. I sort of shrunk them down, and I've got sort of numbers off the ends of tickets as well. And then there was these documents that had signatures and things on. I'm just going to move those off. So I've got all these tickets. I've got loads and loads of numbers to choose from. I printed this double-sided like a Wally, so I don't mind using it. So I took signatures from this one, from that one, got numbers from there. There's like a signature there. I mean, you can't really read them, so it doesn't really matter. And then you've got all these numbers here that that I can use. There's lots of kits that you can get with numbers on. And then I printed these 4 to a page, so I could take the dates. So they're really nice, those dates there. And then I printed those documents off, but I printed 2 to a page so that they're a bit smaller to fit on here nicely. So we've got nice signatures, didn't really take much off that one. It was more the signatures, and there's another date there. There is a date there, but you can't really read it. So I say you can find things in all sorts of, you know, you've probably got oodles of digitals and you forget what you've got, but that was my sort of thoughts. And so I cut them all out and then just sort of inked up round them. So although these have got dates and signatures, so they would actually be in the same colour. So, and that's a date there, which I would ink round, and then I can place that somewhere on here to make it look like somebody's handwritten on it what it is. And then quite like the fact that this signature has got a little stamp behind it. That's pretty cool, isn't it? It's as if it's like the Royal College of Specimenology. I can't even think what you'd be if you did that. So that would be that. And then we want a number in the corner. So bring in the tickets, and I could go for that one, and it would kind of match the colour on that stamp, which might be quite cool. And you might think what a waste, but then I can just use these in collage sheets and stick that number in the corner. So that is what I did to sort of make them look a bit more authentic. And then I need my butterfly. I still like these handwritten things. I mean, I know they'd probably be written in, they'd probably have a Latin name, wouldn't they? It wouldn't say butterfly, it would say the breed of butterfly. But that is what I did. So like I did before, I'm going to go and stamp around them to make them look like they've been in a lab for 100 odd years, and then we'll see what they look like in the end. But that is how I got those little bits on it to make it look a bit more special. Okay, so I'm going to get on with that. So there it is. That's how I did it. And I do think it's worth, I do think that it is more translucent when it's been waxed than when it's left. I mean, that one wasn't fussy cut. Let's compare it to one that's fussy cut. There we go. So that one was fussy cut straight off the and that one was waxed first. So I don't know, not a huge amount of difference, to be fair. Maybe you don't need to wax it, just fussy cut it, then it's quicker. Fussy cut it and then laminate it. That would probably work. I do like that feel though, that's really quite nice, and I quite like it that way. Just gives you a different texture. That works as well. And then that's laminated. So I think waxing it onto the contact paper, maybe not the greatest, although I do like that. That's a lovely sound. So I'd probably do it but not laminate it. What's that? It's like glassine paper, isn't it? So like that, like that. So let's get on and get these finished. I'm going to have oodles of them, and I've still got some laminated, but I might do other things with them, like use them in window envelopes. That might be my next project. So I'm going to finish these up. There we are. They're all done. That's not bad for a day's work. I can't believe we've been at this all day. I did stop for lunch and a few other bits, but yeah, whenever I think I'm going to do a quick project for a junk journal, I just get lost. So I'd already done that one. It was these ones that I was finishing off, wasn't it? So that's the one. Might have done that with you. I can't remember now. So that's the butterfly. I looked at what bumblebee. Well, I looked at what the Latin was for bumblebee, and it's bombus, which I think is just hilarious. So yeah, so that I think that'll be a nice little journaling card, as will that one. And I added a little name there. Thought that was quite cute. And that one you've seen. Yeah, so that's them all. So I think if I was going to do it again, my assessment of what I've done today is just fussy cut them, I think, from the napkin itself. Gosh, can't even speak. So if I put that behind there, that one was waxed and it's a bit translucent there behind my finger, whereas that one is also translucent behind my finger, but I think you can see a little bit more of it. So just swings and roundabouts. That's less effort than that. So there we go. And that's the difference between circle or square. So I say they go under a microscope, which is round, as opposed to being square. So yeah, and that's a punch and that's a die, so that's quicker. So that is what I'd go for. Circle, fussy cut, straight out of the napkin. But I do like that sound there. So I would be inclined to do that again, to stick them to the layout paper and then wax it. That is quite a nice feel. Yeah, and I do quite like that feel as well of waxing straight on. So that's sort of like a few sort of options of how to use it. I think that makes a really nice different texture there on a journaling card. Love that feel. I think that would be great if you're doing an altered envelope and put that in place of its window if you're making a pocket, because then it's not quite so visible what's behind. And yes, fussy cut from the paper napkin and then run it through your laminator. That's what I would do. I'll still use these. I'll still bung these in a journal, but that is my assessment, is fussy cut and laminate, and then make a few of these for doing something different. Okay, I do have a video on waxing, adding candle wax to different items. I've done one where I've done it onto a paper napkin and done it onto, well, not layout paper, but exactly the same. I've done it on, you know, just copier paper. So yeah, hope you like that. I will put pictures on my blog, and I'll have links to my shop. The stamp sets I used, unfortunately, are retired, so you can't get them anymore. But we do have other textured stamp sets in my shop you can have a look at. The sponge daubers, the inks that I used. I know I used some vintage photo, but I also used some other inks. And the punches and the dies are all there as well. So, yeah. Thanks for joining me. Do give me a thumbs up. And do subscribe if you're not already, and I've already got ideas for my next video, which it might be doing something like this in a window envelope. Okay, thanks for joining me. Bye bye now.